Monique James. I had already done Slaughterhouse-Five, and she knew my attitude towards being topless, and I was probably the only actress on the lot that could care less, and that's what the character needed to be like that.
The sense of comfortable in your own skin.
Yeah.
Did you get that from being in Vegas for so many years, or were you just always comfortable in your body?
Well, Vegas, and then after Vegas, I went to Europe for a while, and all the beaches in Saint-Tropez were topless, or most of the beaches, or some of the, well, there was one topless beach.
And you found it.
And I found it, and you know, when you're running around on a beach with nothing on but a G-string, it releases you.
What was funny about Steam Bath was that it was, I think, the first time nudity was allowed on American television, and PBS ran that into the ground. Every time they had a pledge season or whatever, they would run Steam Bath. I think you raised more money for public television than anybody on the planet Earth. More than Big Bird. You took care of that. Took care of them for 10 years. You know, I mean, probably your biggest success was the Superman films. Yeah, how did you end up in? Go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That was fun to make. Most of the pictures I've ever done were fun to make.
Right.
Except Rod Steiger. What a jerk.
Well, Rod Steiger's one of those guys you can't say, oh, he seems like such a nice guy. Rod Steiger's a jerk, I believe you.
You think he seems like a nice guy?
No, not at all. I'm being sarcastic. He seems like a horrible human being.
Oh, okay.
But Superman, talk about the making of Superman. Because that movie, those both 1 and 2 were kind of shot at the same time, weren't they?
Yeah.
How did that work? Did you know there were going to be 2 films, or was it the Salkins just?
No, it was called the Salkin Clause in our contract because they had done another movie and not let the actors know they were making 2 films, and they got sued because the actors only got paid for 1 film. But this time, they had to be honest about it.
Right, those are 3 and 4 Musketeers, right? I
Yes.
forgot about that. They had to pay them double their salary because they got fooled into making.
Yes.
Yeah. But now this is one of those things I've never quite understood because Richard Donner directed Superman, but then Richard Lester directed Superman 2. Were you directed by both guys, or
No.
it was just Richard Donner, or?
Just Donner.
Right. I've
It
never.
was wonderful.
Wow. I hesitate to bring it up, but it's also one of those most fascinating movies, I think, when you actually watch it, is Can't Stop the Music.
I knew it.
Can't Stop the Music. Which is Alan Carr's huge Village People disco extravaganza. How did
Ruined my career.
ruin your career? Yeah.
I moved to Europe afterwards. I was so embarrassed. I did. I really did.
Well, that was one of those weird things, too, where it wasn't just making the movie. For some reason, Alan Carr had you guys on like a global tour, releasing it in every country, correct? You had to promote that movie all around the world.
Everywhere. Wouldn't you know, it couldn't have been Lenny. No, it had to be Can't Stop the Music.
Now, did you know when you were making it, or it was only after the fact? And when did you get the sense that, wait a second, I'm making Can't Stop the Music?
One day, poor Bruce had never acted.
Bruce Jenner.
Yeah. And we were about to walk through a door during a take with the camera on us, and I was trying to get Bruce relaxed before he came through the door so he would sound real. And I was talking to him before our scene started, and all of a sudden I heard Nancy yell out for ruining the set because I was talking during a take. And she was looking the wrong direction, and she didn't know the camera was on me.
Oh, wow.
She thought the camera was somewhere else, and she thought I was talking during a take rather than acting.
She's talking about Nancy Walker, who
Yeah.
was the director of the film.
Yeah.
You know, which is always one of those baffling moments. I've never quite understood how Nancy Walker.
Quicker picker-upper. Well, it's very simple. Alan Carr managed her, so everything he paid her, he got 20% back.
Always a good reason for hiring a director.
Yeah.
Is the kickbacks involved.
Yeah.
And how were the Village people? What were those guys
Oh,
like?
they were wonderful.
Right.
They were so sweet. They were really good boys. I'm still friendly with some of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Indian?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Philippe Rose, I believe
Yeah.
is the correct name. Yeah, I know the Indian's name. You made another film right after that I'm a huge fan of, which is the Tony Richardson film with Jack Nicholson.
Oh, right.
Right. What was
The Border.
The Border. Some Border fans.
Thank you.
Can you talk about working with Nicholson?
Nicholson had a bad back, and at the time I didn't understand bad backs, but since then I've had back surgery and been in constant pain ever since. And I didn't sympathize with him a lot, and I can't wait to see him again because I thought he was just being a spoiled actor because he wanted to have a helicopter drive him to the location because it was too far for him to be in the car. And believe me, I would do the same thing as he did today because back pain is horrible.
I'm going to open it up out here. You have a question right there, sir?
Two things. First of all, you mentioned Nancy Walker directing Can't Stop the Music from her commercials, the Quicker Picker Upper. It's not ironic that during Lenny we had Jan Miner, who was the Palmolive Madge.
Yes.
Right, wow.
The question I want to ask you, though, was that after Superman, how many times when people recognized you would they yell, Miss Teschmacher?
I still get it. I still get yeah.
Well, it's funny, even when we posted the event on Facebook, I would say the first 10 people who posted that was, Miss Teschmacher! That's all they would write. It was anybody else over here? Right there, Jeff.
I find it extremely ironic that Rod Steiger was not polite enough to act with you for reverse shots. That's because of all the things that he has complained about. He has repeatedly referred to Marlon Brando not doing the same thing for him during the taxi cab scene.
Oh.
On the waterfront. Brando had to, I think, visit a psychiatrist late in the afternoon. And
Could you repeat the question?
Complained about Brando. And it's just very ironic that he did the same thing to you.
Well, he did something else. George was on the lot doing The Sting, I think, and I was there doing what's the movie I did with Rod?
W.C. Fields and Me.
W.C. Fields and Me. And I went over to George's office one day and I said, it's the strangest thing. When I'm acting with Rod, I feel weird. Something's wrong. And he started talking to me and he's saying, is this what you got? And I said, yes. He never looked in my face. He looked at my ear to deliberately throw me off.
Wow.
That's what kind of actor he was.
Wow.
Try talking to somebody and looking at their ear, or have somebody do it to you. It's very strange. You think you're going cross-eyed or something.
Also, I would say one of the great things about you during the 1970s was this, in the sense that you were one of the great interviews of all time. Whether it was Merv Griffin or whatever. I remember reading the Rex Reed interviews with you, because you seemed, once again, what was great about you was the fact that there was no wall.
No.
You did things in these interviews. I mean, I read this interview with Rex Reed where you're just taking hash brownies and
Yeah.
there was your publicist today would kill you for doing things like
Does
that.
anybody have any?
Woo! I'm sure there's people have a card. They could run across the street and buy some for us. Yes, right there.
You did another little underrated movie that you worked on that you played opposite Robert Redford in, briefly anyway, in Electric Horseman.
Oh.
No?
Oh, Robert Redford, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, never mind, I got him confused with somebody else. Right, boy, is that...
What was the question?
The question is, talk about working with Robert Redford on Electric Horseman.
Well, I mean, that's Robert Redford. He was great. He would never be on the set. I mean, we didn't need to rehearse or anything. It was an easy thing. And he would never be on the set until the last minute, and the director would be going crazy, saying, "Where's Bob? Where's Bob?" And Bob would be out doing whatever he wanted to do. And he knew the business so well. He knew exactly when he would really be needed. And that's when he'd show up. Because, you know, they have actors come onto the set so early. You don't need to be around there. You can be doing something much better, like learning your lines. But if you can.
It was funny. There's actually a book. I forget the name of the book, but it's written by like the great AD in the 1970s, and he talks about being the AD for Sidney Pollack, and we're working with Redford on The Way We Were, and both him and Streisand would refuse to come to the set before the other person was already there. So he had to always go to Redford saying, "Streisand's waiting for you," and he'd go to Streisand saying, "Redford's waiting." And it was this game, and somebody would show up and they wouldn't be there. They'd go back to their trailer, and it was just the entire day would be spent like trying to get these two people to actually be there. They weren't doing anything else. They were just hanging out. That's over there.
Did you ever see Lenny perform, Lenny Bruce?
Did you ever see Lenny Bruce perform?
No.
Yeah.
Right there.
Did you ever turn down any roles that you regretted?
Did you ever turn down any roles that you regretted?
I can't remember the name of the film.
You can't regret it too much if you...
No, it was a huge hit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. What was it, Stacy? Do you remember?
Who was in it?
I can't remember her name either.
Tell us the plot.
Well, she wasn't as good as you.
It was sexy. It was, and that's why I turned it down. I didn't want to do another film that had to do with sex.
Right.
Those men always reach twice?
No. I'll think of it before.
Now you were also a person who bounced back and forth between comedy and drama. I mean, was there one that you preferred more than the other?
No.
Just went to whatever appealed. How did you pick projects? Did you just on a whim, or did the things that appealed to you, or?